Today, we're looking at a pretty fascinating framework.
We really are. We're pulling an excerpt from the March 9th daily devotional of Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris.
Right. And our mission today is to unpack this specific theological argument they make. It's a really bold claim that Christians are entirely immune to curses.
Entirely immune.
So have you ever wondered how certain faith traditions handle things like ancestral curses or, just family bad luck, or even direct threats from something like a voodoo priest?
Yeah, this text gives a very definitive, empowering answer for its readers. It leaves basically zero room for a gray area.
Because it argues a believer simply cannot be cursed by any of those things.
None of them. The premise is that only blessings are permitted to operate in their life.
And the scriptural foundation for this is specific. It points to a passage in 1 Peter about being called to inherit a blessing.
Yeah, and then it anchors that idea using 2 Corinthians, relying heavily on this concept of becoming a new creature.
Which is a total spiritual reset, right?
Right. In this theological framework, becoming a new creature means that spiritual reset at conversion makes someone inherently superior to Satan and his works.
So the old rules of cause and effect just do not apply anymore?
Exactly.
What I found really interesting is how it dismantles the fear of curses logically. It asks a mechanical question like, if you were cursed, who would actually enforce it?
It's a really clever logical breakdown. I mean, the devil can't enforce it because the text asserts the believer has more power than all demons combined.
And God certainly wouldn't enforce it.
Right, because a loving God wouldn't supervise a curse against his own children.
So structurally, a curse has no enforcer.
No enforcer at all. But it takes it a step further. It ties this immunity directly to a person's intellect and awareness.
Oh yeah, there's this standout quote. Truth unknown is powerless, but truth known puts you over.
Which connects right back to the book of John. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So the accurate knowledge is the literal mechanism for freedom.
Yes. It's not just a passive comfort. Without knowing your own spiritual status, you walk around in unnecessary fear. The knowledge itself activates the immunity.
It reminds me of psychological frameworks, like cognitive behavioral therapy, where your awareness and internal narrative dictate your reality.
That is a really sharp parallel, actually.
Right, because if you believe you're cursed, you live as if you are bound by it. You start looking for evidence of the curse in every minor inconvenience.
Like a negative placebo effect.
Exactly.
So by internalizing this specific spiritual truth, the reader strips the perceived curse of its psychological power. The fear just dissolves.
But there has to be some explanation for why people in this tradition might still experience hardship. Does the text offer an exception to this absolute protection?
It does outline one scenario where a believer might live as though under a curse. That happens if they actively ignore or reject the word of God.
Oh, so stepping away from divine truth invites destruction. It cites Proverbs for that, right?
It does. It removes them from the covering of that divine truth.
It sounds almost like a spiritual opt-out clause.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. The protection is always active, but by ignoring the foundational text, you choose to walk outside the radius of that immunity.
So by yielding to the text, the believer becomes functionally untouchable.
Untouchable. They walk purely in victory, fully empowered by knowing their inheritance.
But their participation in that protection requires adherence to the truth.
Exactly.
According to this framework, the mere knowledge of truth actively enforces a person's freedom.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It really is. And think about that as you go about your day. How might this framework apply to you?
The idea that truth unknown is powerless.
Right. How might that idea apply to the way you confront your own everyday anxieties or mental roadblocks, even entirely outside of a spiritual context? Just something to ponder.
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.